All right, welcome to today's workout. Today's workout we are calling Pride in honor of Pride Month. I know we're coming to the end, but we definitely want to make sure we celebrate it. So today's workout we are specifically naming Pride. So we've had 4 rounds for the workout today. We're going to work with 45-second working sets and 15 seconds of recovery. So we have some built-in recovery this week, which is, I think, a welcome addition to the workouts this week to kind of add a little bit of recovery in between those working sets. So our workout today is going to consist of box squats with an optional dumbbell, some weighted alternating step-ups, some dips, Spider-Mans, a plank walkout, and some mountain climbers to get that heart rate up at the end of each round. All right, so let's go into that first movement. All right, up first we have those box squats. And again, a dumbbell is optional here if you have some dumbbells or any kind of added resistance you want to use. I definitely recommend holding it close and underneath your chin, just like Caitlin here has the dumbbell in a goblet style hold. So with our setup with our feet, we have about a shoulder width stance, just a slight angle out to those toes. And we want to make sure, again, we're always prioritizing pushing through the heels, not the toes or the balls of the feet, as that will add tension to the knees. Keeping the weight in the heels will help make sure we keep that tension in those quads, hamstrings, and glutes. So we're using a desk, we're using a chair, a step, something that's relatively low here with that box squat to use as a reference point for depth, right? So we want to try to really get those hips back and down and get that butt nice and low to tap whatever we're using for that surface. All right, our next movement here, we're using some dumbbells. You can hold one in each hand. Again, you can use some other weights if you have them or anything that's going to add resistance. We're going to start with both feet up on a step. You can use the bottom step of your stairs, or you can, if you're looking for a little bit more of a challenge, you can use the second or third step to reach back off of. Either way, we're going to start with both feet on top, and we're going to alternate stepping back and getting a little bit of a drop down on each side. Now, the key here is as we come out of that low position, whatever foot is still on that stair or that step, we want to make sure we really push hard through the heel of that foot. Again, just like we talked about with those squats, that's going to help take the tension out of the knees, really help make sure we're activating those glutes as we come out of that low position here. So remember, we're alternating with each time, with each step on this movement. And our next movement, we're going to get those arms going with some dips. So you can use that same surface you use for the box squat or the same surface that you use for those step-ups. Either way, we're going to start with your hands just outside of your hips, your fingers pointing down towards the ground. We're going to slide our butt just off the edge of that step or that table, and we're going to lower it down towards the ground here. So you can see Caitlin's feet here. She's got a relatively steep angle in the bend of her knees. The further out your feet are, the more challenging this movement is going to become. So you can always adjust the angle there by either extending your legs out more or pulling your heels back more underneath you. And so the objective here is to really get as low as you can with the angle of the elbow there. So getting your butt down towards the ground and then really driving through the palms of your hands as you straighten those elbows. And as those elbows become straight, that's when you're going to feel that tension in those triceps the most. All right, we're going to shift gears a little bit and work into some core strength. So I challenge you to use the same surface again to kind of elevate your arms a bit on this one. So traditionally, if we're doing the Spider-Man, we're doing it down on the ground. Same premise here, but our hands are elevated, which is going to allow us to get the knee up a little higher up towards your armpit and that elbow on the opposite arm here. So you start in that high plank, kind of push-up position with your hands on that step, but reach that knee across towards the opposite elbow. And you want to think about lifting your hips a little higher as that knee comes across instead of letting your hips drop down. That's going to not only engage your core more, but that's going to enable us to really get that extra squeeze as that knee gets up towards that elbow. So we're alternating with each one here. And then moving right into another great core workout here. So this is actually one of my favorite options for a plank, is a plank walkout. So essentially we're starting in a high plank position, or if you think of it more like a push-up position, so your hands are underneath your shoulders, we're up on your toes, and I definitely encourage you to keep your feet a little wider here just to help keep your hips stable. But all we're going to do here is walk one hand out in front of you a little bit, walk the other hand to match it, and then we're going to bring them back underneath your shoulders. So we're alternating here in terms of what hand is leading, but the objective here is as your hands get out a little more in front of you, you want to make sure your hips aren't sagging, right? That's really going to help you make sure we're engaging those core muscles, the abdominals, the lower back, and the obliques. So you can always adjust how much you walk your hands out. The further out in front you walk your hands, the more challenging this movement's going to become. So you can find that sweet spot. And last, just because we want a little bit of an opportunity here to get your heart rate up, we're going to go ahead and transition into some mountain climbers. So setting up just as we started with that high plank position, we're going to drive that knee up towards the chest. And the objective here is to try to go nice and quick. So as that knee comes up towards the chest, we quickly switch legs, right? So the other knee comes up as the other foot goes back. The faster you go, the higher we're going to get that heart rate. And as we've said in the past, you know that the higher we can get your heart rate, the bigger the impact we can have on your metabolism and the overall amount of calories that we can burn in that workout. So definitely try to challenge the pace here as much as you can, and just especially remembering that we do get those built-in rest periods. So try to get it nice and quick. Right, and as we wrap up these mountain climbers, that concludes one round. Remember, we're looking for a total of 4 rounds in today's workout, so definitely try to push the pace while you are in those working sets with the movements that you are doing. Again, where we do have that built-in rest, we can really work on those 45-second really hard working sets to make sure we're challenging not only the muscles but that heart rate, and just trying to pay attention to your form as you go through each individual movement. So post any comments you have or any questions you have in the comments section, as well as a good old-fashioned sweaty selfie in there as well, so we can see all that hard work. And we will see you in the next workout. Thanks, guys.